Hello everyone, Storm here, and today I've got a new video for you guys. One of the most important things for a villain of just about any story to do is to be imposing or threatening. They have to be built up to be a real trouble for the protagonist, but ultimately, they need to be able to be defeated in a narratively satisfying, yet also feasible way. However, when running over the course of a long series, it becomes increasingly easy to write a villain into a corner where there should not be any escape. But of course, it's not the end of the story, so they can't go just yet. This means you've got to write some way to get the villain out of that issue, and sometimes it's very apparent that's what's happening. A prime example of this is Total Drama's Heather, who serves as the villain of Total Drama Island across the entirety of the season. A full 26 episodes with a special that's twice as long as a normal episode. That makes for a total of over 9 hours, and during that time, Heather's bad reputation gets her into some tough situations that the writers take plenty of liberties to get her out of. These are sometimes small liberties, and sometimes so big they ruin entire episodes. So join me as I go through every time Heather's plot armor comes into effect and see just how big her plot armor really is. But before we do that, if you guys want to see more content like this and also want some cool perks like early access to videos, consider becoming a channel member for just $2.99. You can find this on the join button next to the channel, or whenever you click the channel page. It really helps out and also lets me know that you guys want to see future videos. But anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into the topic for the video. So, right from her introduction, Heather makes enemies with various characters. This leads to her forming an alliance with Lindsay and Beth to help her get further along in the game. This is a very good move on Heather's part, and would go on to help her out many times, but I don't consider it plot armor because she actually executes this plan and comes up with it herself. This is a really good strategy, and it's very viable, and people actually do it in real game shows like this. Her first real moment of plot armor to me is her elimination of Justin. Heather reads out Gwen's diary, partially causing her team to lose, so most of the team is trying to vote her off, but she explains in a confessional how she avoided elimination. Her alliance with Lindsay and Beth voted off Justin, along with bribing Owen to vote for him with cake, and just convincing Izzy. However, it seems really weird to manage to convince all of them to vote off Justin so quickly, considering how Lindsay, Beth, and Owen react to Justin in not only the following season, but also this one to a lesser extent. I mean, they love the guy, so Heather convincing them so easily that it's not even worth noting for an actual scene and is just told to us through a confessional is crazy. It's very clear the writers had no clue what they wanted to do with Justin, so they just gave him no lines and booted him to save Heather. The next time Heather gains some plot armor in episode 9 isn't nearly as bad since it's due to Cody being mauled by a bear. This seems more like dumb luck than plot armor honestly, and it's a pretty good reason to eliminate someone else over Heather. Plus, Cody being mauled is inadvertently due to Heather's own actions. She told Beth to go steal chips from Chef, Beth grabbed the wrong chips, Heather threw them out, and Cody picked them up, leaving a trail for a bear to follow. Cody being eliminated due to his injuries is a lot more acceptable because of these factors. It's also just kind of realistic to have a character get mauled by a bear during a forest challenge, but if you want to see what would happen if Cody wasn't mauled by a bear, check out this cool video I made. Links in the description and comment section. Beth's elimination is another Cody situation to me, as she's voted off due to her own actions which had been set up prior. Beth had been late to a challenge explanation in episode 8, so she didn't hear Chris telling them about the curse that comes with taking Boney Island's items. So she took a totem and got found with it, so the Gophers blame her out of paranoia and vote her off. That makes sense to me, and I don't think it's really plot armor, although it does save Heather. Although Eva returning does take the target off Heather's back, it's only for an episode, so it's really not that important. What is important is episode 16's challenge, having the contestants randomly choose where they must find their key to unlock a chest, and coincidentally, Heather's key is the one that unlocks immunity after she just placed a massive target on herself and Trent. If it weren't for this 1 in 11 chance, she would have 100% been voted off here. It's just really lame and probably would have been better if the keys were random or if Lindsay got immunity and gave it to Heather. That way, Heather's reason for staying in the game is at least due to Heather's smart move of recruiting her. Both episodes 18 and 19 have sudden death elimination challenges to prevent a vote, which Heather would almost certainly lose. In episode 18, she at least wins immunity, so it's okay, but 19 eliminates DJ for having the worst scare. This isn't that big of a deal to me, but throwing in sudden death challenges to get rid of characters people wouldn't normally vote off definitely does help Heather. I mean, when you look at DJ, why would anybody vote this guy off? Compare that to a character like Beth, who literally in season 2 makes it all the way to the finale because nobody sees her as a threat, nobody dislikes her, she's just kind of there. The only reason she's voted off in season 1 is because of the bizarre curse twist. So if that never happened, they probably would have had to do a sudden death elimination for Beth as well. In episode 20, Izzy really gives into her crazy side and gets voted off after shooting Heather with the tranquilizer dart. Or this could have been a plan to make Heather fall behind so she could lose a challenge and finally get voted off. But she didn't plan for Duncan making an alliance with Heather, so she gets voted off instead. The first idea makes it feel like plot armor because it's weird that Gwen and Owen don't take the chance to vote off Heather here. Also, Gwen somehow gets put into the final 2 despite winning the challenge. So if Izzy did plan to stop Heather from getting immunity, it doesn't matter because there was no immunity, I guess. So this could either be seen as plot armor or a scheme of Izzy's gone wrong, depending on whether or not you see Izzy as crazy or some genius mastermind. In episode 21, a few members of the cast start considering the fact that the really nice players are a big threat. It's been built up so far that the winner will be voted on by the eliminated players, so thinking of this plan is pretty smart. If someone like Heather, who is the main person planning about this, makes it to the finale, she'll lose the vote for sure. The only issue I have with that is that I wish Heather brought it up once or twice in previous episodes, as it does seem kind of flimsy that they just randomly bring it up now. Also, as I explained in my rewrite of Total Drama Island, which you guys can check out, the votes are kind of weird to decipher here, so it does slightly come off as a way to save Heather, since she didn't obtain immunity this time. Episode 22 is known for being a really cool look at what the previous cast members have been up to, and gives us a lot of screen time for the early boot guys. Plus, it provides a cool twist that instead of voting for the winner, they will be able to vote one member out of the final 5. However, the voting itself is a huge issue and is why this episode is also known for one of, if not the worst elimination ever on the show. Instead of the cast actually voting, a few characters say they want to see Lashana again, and everyone follows in a random trend saying Lashana's name. So Lashana literally gets dragged in the middle of the night out of bed and hauled onto the boat of losers. Just look at her face. This is my exact reaction every time I watch this scene. It's so obvious that they did that weird name thing as a way for everyone to not vote off Heather, which is so lame, especially considering Heather just eliminated Jeff, one of the biggest threats to a popularity contest in the finale, only for a new vote to be held, and she avoids it by random chance. It really undersells that victory she was able to get by planning ahead. This is absolutely the most egregious form of plot armor Heather gets in any part of the series. Now the next one is the last time we really get any plot armor from Heather, as it's the last episode before she gets booted. The thing I don't like is that Gwen is so willing to team up with Heather instead of making a pact with Duncan and Owen. If she let them win, they could save her from the vote and boot off Heather. It's not really that big of a risk considering Owen doesn't like Heather and Duncan has bonded with Gwen before. But at least we get to see the cool dynamic of Gwen and Heather teaming up after all this infighting. It's not the worst thing ever, especially when we just got past the Lashana elimination. So overall, we've got about 10-ish instances of plot armor, and you can definitely tell which ones are just circumstances or are genuinely really bad. Some of these issues make it very clear to me why Island isn't the best season, and Heather gets an easy second place as a villain. She's really effective, but it's clear the writers had some trouble hitting their stride on the first season. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it insightful. If you did, consider becoming a channel member, as I said before, to have your name read out at the end. Like the first member, Derpy Murloc. But as always, tell me if you like this video, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.